Here's Brody Brazil.
Sometimes when I pose a poll question on social media, I'm doing it because I have an instinct of what the answers are going to be like, and I'm just looking for confirmation. But in this case, I was simply asking out of pure and honest curiosity, asking you, the person who follows me on X or Instagram or here on YouTube, whatever, how much are you planning to spend on football for this upcoming football season? And I probably should have been more specific about this. I'm talking about the NFL, but it could also relate to going to some college games or even high school. Like if you know somebody that plays high school or you have a child on a high school football team, doesn't matter. That could all add up too. Obviously, though, the NFL is going to command top dollar, but I'm just talking football this football season. What do you plan to spend? And I found this interesting right away that 76.7% out of, 600 or 700 votes on X, by the way, is where I did this, said they're going to spend between $0 and $500. So I imagine there's a lot of people that are already looking at their Sunday ticket purchase and saying, well, that's between $0 and $500. That's what I'm spending. Maybe throw in a little bit of fantasy money and that's it. So I don't think a lot of people here, if that really is 76.7%, even to go to one football game for two people is going to surpass that $500 mark, unless you get tickets on a deal and you do it really creatively and on the cheap, which more power to you. That's awesome. It just goes to show you that a lot of people are not going to spend a lot of money. That's interesting. On the flip side, you have 4.5% that say they're going to spend more than $3,000 on football this football season. Now, if you're a season ticket holder, pretty much across the board, right? I haven't crunched the numbers on this. You have to be, though, in the hundreds, if not thousands of dollar range to get to $3,000. Even good tickets, right? Because usually season tickets are better tickets, more premium tickets. They come with more amenities. So I would say that a lot of people, being honest about 4.5%, they're the season ticket holders. They're going to spend more than $3,000. And then the other two values here, more than $500 and more than $1,000, I just kind of put those as mid-range ideas, somewhere between $500 and $3,000. And so about almost 20%. So look, you have 75% here, only about 5% there. The majority is right here, a significant chunk right here, triple and quadruple digits. And then 5%, 4.5 to 5.5% say more than $3,000. And what are we talking about with football spending? Well, I was just mostly talking about tickets, but when you add it all up, it's easy to get that amount super high, super quick. Game tickets, whether you buy them from a team or you're buying them on the resale market, there's parking, there's concessions and food and merchandise, and maybe you play in a fantasy league and there's a buy-in or there's some penalties. Wagering, we haven't even gone there yet. And I guess some people are saying, well, they're not planning to spend that because they're planning to win that. But if you are putting any type of money down, you're spending it. Yeah, you might be winning some of it back, but you're spending it all right. So wagering, and then, Sunday ticket, which I saw the amount this year. And apparently if you buy it from Apple, like with the iTunes store, they tack on an extra percentage, and it's more like $600 or $700 instead of, $4 something this year. We'll get to that in just a second. So what do we know about last year, right? Like we saw that poll, we saw the results, but from last year, according to an Experian survey, fans in 2023, they said, would spend an average of $743 on football-related purchases throughout the 2023 football season. Didn't have a follow-up on that yet, but that was midway through last year, so they were already crunching the numbers. But I just think that's an interesting number right there, 743. That goes well above what most people responded with and saying that they wouldn't spend more than $500. But I easily see it. If you buy Sunday ticket and you go to one game, I think you're easily at least $743. Speaking of Sunday ticket, $449. Now, what do we think about the value there? It is all football season long, and it is all of the out-of-market games. And there are some perks and benefits, and I saw if you get it from YouTube specifically, now you can do the multi-screen thing, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can watch 4, I think, or more games at once. You can also tell it You can import your fantasy roster to YouTube, and it will alert you and identify you of when your player just did something or is about to do something, or your defense is out there. Like, it knows ahead of time. It's going to suggest to you, hey, you should watch this. Yes, sir, I'll watch that. It's pretty cool. I think that's a high number. It really is. But if you divide it by week, and if you really are watching every Sunday, then it's not the worst thing you've ever spent money on. If you're looking at the one-time price here, and if you only really watched it for 2 weeks, you wasted money. Even if you watched it for 4 weeks, I think you wasted money. If you watched it for half the season, and if you're watching it for even a couple hours every Sunday, your game, another game, early game, late game, doesn't matter. I think you're getting your value out of it if you watch most Sundays. But less than half, fewer than half the Sundays, I think that's too high of a price. But if you're watching most times, it's high. I'm not here to tell you that that's cheap. I'm really not. I'm just saying, look at it differently, divided by 17 or 18 for however many games and weeks you're going to want to watch. Then the price looks different, and it's something that you might spend on drinks or dinner or other entertainment that would keep you occupied for hours at a time. The average NFL ticket. So we don't have necessarily 2024 yet, but we do already have the numbers from 23 and 22. And oh my goodness, in 2023, $377. And that's a pretty steep increase from $235 to $377. That's the average ticket. And I'll show you what the most affordable tickets are and the most expensive ticket in just a second. But for every one that's cheaper than $377, there's one that balances it out on the high side. That was last year, so we'll see what this year brings. As for this year, we already know, as of right now, the most expensive ticket sold by a team, right? So this is not the resale market, but sold by a team, is for a Raider game on October 13th. They're hosting the Steelers at Allegiant Stadium, and tickets are going for $601 per seat. That's the highest average. I should be clear, that's not the most expensive seat overall. That's the most expensive average ticket for a given game this season, because I think you can buy a field level club ticket thing for like $50,000 for a lot of games, or is it 15? Whatever. It's some ridiculous amount. So $601 per seat again is the average, highest, most expensive average ticket price for any single game this season. So what's on the flip side of that then? The least expensive game tickets this year. The Atlanta Falcons averaging $196 per ticket. The Houston Texans just above $200 at $216 a ticket. And the Cardinals in Arizona, $220 per ticket. So only one team in the NFL has a ticket on average that is sub $200. So again, just going back to that initial question of how much do you plan to spend, I'm guessing that most people who just replied to my poll question are probably not going to go to a game. If that, they'll be going to one, and they'll be doing it, very strategically. How about the family of four cost? This is always the big question, and the information here comes from Statista. The Statista said the fan cost index, it's comprising the prices of 4 average price tickets, 2 small draft beers, 4 small soft drinks, got to give the kids their soda, 4 regular size hot dogs, parking for 1 hour. Wait, what? I'm not sure where they got that from. 2 game programs, I mean, 1 would be fine, and 2 least expensive adult size adjustable caps. Also an interesting purchase, but I digress. Okay, they're just trying to throw some things in there to make you understand that they're looking for averages here. This is super interesting, that in 2007, for a family of 4 to go to an NFL game, $367. Last year, 2023, $631. And I mean, it is so clear where that line is going right there. Only going up, and I mean, from that amount to that amount in, most of the decade, but still the point being is this is only going one way. And it's getting to the point where, I know, inflation is what it is and the cost of living is what it is, but it's a pretty steep incline right there for a family of 4 to go to a football game. So even that alone, $631, if you do it in an affordable way, you've obviously surpassed that $500 threshold I was talking about before. So again, I'm asking this question. I did ask it on X, Twitter, but I want to ask it to you watching here on YouTube. How much do you plan on spending this year on football during the football season? Go ahead and put your answer down below in the comment section. And while you're here, since you made it to the end of this video, you know I really appreciate that. Thumbs up down below. That'll help me and this video and this channel. I would like that, but I would also love it even more if you just take one quick second right now, go down there to that subscribe button, make sure that you've already hit that, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. That way I definitely get to see you back here next time.